Thank you, Neil. I'll be very brief, and I'm so glad you're here. My name is Michael Minch. I'm a professor of political philosophy and peace and justice studies here at UVU. I'm also the founder and director of Summit, the Sustainable Mountain Development and Conflict Transformation Global Knowledge and Action Network. Whew, that's a mouthful, isn't it? So we always call it the Summit Knowledge and Action Network, or just Summit. And I'm going to tell you briefly about what our organization does, and then even more briefly say a word about what the meaning of refugees is in one way for all of us. So I want to say briefly something about the way we designed this morning, and I hope it works that way. We wanted to talk a bit about the global refugee crisis. But mostly we wanted to talk about the global refugee crisis as it is manifest in Utah. And more particularly, we wanted to talk about the way the refugee crisis is manifest in Utah County. And so there's meant to be a kind of flow to our discussion. And it's not an academic enterprise as such. It's far more about people here networking and finding others who are doing work with refugees and learning how they might help. And that's obvious enough when you walk in the room and you see the tables at the back of the room and the organizations there. Now, some people who will be speaking this morning are people who represent organizations. But there are other organizations here who do not have representatives speaking. And so just for a moment, I'd like everybody here who is with an organization that does some work with refugees in Utah, or around the world for that matter, to stand, and then I want everybody else to look around and see who they are, so you know who to go talk with when we're done with these presentations. Does that make sense? So just briefly, if everyone will stand who works with an organization, so everybody else can get a look at it and see who you are. Yeah, so these people are people you'll want to talk to, and each and every organization here, thank you very much, does very fine, very wonderful work. The International Refugee Committee is doing fantastic work, of course, all over the world, and in Utah, in Salt Lake County primarily. The Catholic Diocese is doing wonderful work in Utah, primarily in Salt Lake and Davis counties. And there's a group that has started up here in Utah County that is, by the way, I'm not the director of it. Cassandra will speak later, shortly, and she's the director of the organization. So we're going to learn things from people like Patrick Pullen about how we can do work down here in new and innovative and in helpful ways. Every month, 1,200 refugees are settled in Utah, and they will keep coming for some time, quite unfortunately. And so we need to respond to those brothers and sisters coming here from around the world and be of help to them. The Summit Knowledge and Action Network is building the world's largest database related to conflict transformation and sustainable development. We are putting together a network of networks, the single most powerful tool for all people on planet Earth to connect with one another about how to solve the world's problems. We will become the world's largest repository of knowledge about all things, problems and their solutions, related to conflict, peace building, reconciliation, and all the problems that we collectively call structural violence, poverty, water, energy insecurity, food insecurity, lack of health care, lack of education, etc. We also become the world's largest repository of what is known as peace tech. All the technological advancements and innovations we are producing in this world to build peace and justice. And, for example, not only meet the needs of refugees, but eliminate the fact of refugees. So, we will be the world's foremost means of connecting people to people and communities to communities and needs to solutions. Everyone in this room knows that we live in a world that is filled with horrible, ungodly problems. A very, very conservative estimation is that 50,000 people die every day from poverty. Deaths that do not need to occur, but occur because of our design systems or our negligence. People who die for lack of clean water, lack of food, lack of very affordable and simple medical care, etc. We need to end that. We can end that, and we will end that. We are not only going to build the largest repository of knowledge in the world to meet these needs, but we will continuously build new knowledge, because through Summit, innovative experts and people on the ground working in problematic areas and on solutions will communicate with one another about how to solve problems in new ways. Right now, for example, we're building the world's largest data sets on slavery and refugees. Because people who want to change the world first need to know the facts about the world they want to change. In 2017, we will hold our first Summit Innovation Lab, and this lab will be a lab to end slavery, to strategize an end to global slavery, complete with a timeline, a budget, a set of commitments from world leaders, and the United Nations. Speaking of the United Nations, Summit will be one of the world's most effective players in the realization to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals, because our mission is to make every other NGO in the world and state government agencies around the globe more efficient and more productive in the work they do to achieve their humanitarian missions. We are committed to this world-changing mission because we believe that every single human being is a wondrous, precious, sacred person with dignity and all the respect due to him or her because of that dignity. The structures and systems and institutions and assemblages and technologies that produce poverty and injustice and domination and violence and hopelessness are not inevitable, they are not eternal, and they are not necessary. They are unacceptable, they are immoral, and they are eliminable. Refugees are on the run, away from home, for a host of reasons that rightly anger us and motivate us to rise against them. And while we engage and seek to defeat these unjust and violent structures and systems, there are still wondrous and beautiful people with dignity in their complete humanity who need our compassionate and intelligent, non-patronizing, non-condescending assistance. When refugees come to Utah, they bring gifts to us of many kinds. They allow us to know the world better, to know ourselves better, to know humanity better. They give us opportunities to engage in life, shorn, if just a little, of the many distractions and self-justifications we employ to crowd our lives in ways that disallow us to live life as it is meant to be lived, with purpose, seriousness, joy, grace, peace, justice, compassion, and hope. So welcome to today's event. Please use it to discover, to learn, to network, to communicate, to support, and to share. We're so glad you're with us. Thank you for being here.